Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming and welcome to my humble lounge. Today we are reading from Tales of the Ambassador. If you enjoy, please drop a like. If you want to hear more, please drop a sub. I hope everyone's having an amazing day. Without further ado, let's get to it. Several days had passed since E.T.'s gym ball wound up at my lab. First thing we did was monitor its signals. But after its arrival, it may as well have been a rock floating in space. No signal waves, no output, no sensor feed, nothing. Could be that we simply couldn't pick up on it, but given that we were able to detect its arrival, that seems unlikely. Between convincing the generals not to try and destroy the thing outright and working with the heads of the Federation to determine appropriate action going forward, it's been madness the past couple of days. After dozens of headache-inducing meetings, it was decided we would reveal we discovered alien life to the public, declare a precautionary state of emergency, and ramp up starfighter and cruiser production in the meantime. Further updates to the public and scientific community after distributing the initial pictures of the probe and evidence of a stable slipstream are deemed classified. Now it's on me and my team to figure out what the hell this thing is, why it's here, and if we're facing diplomacy or Armageddon. Our first breakthrough came early while monitoring signal patterns, trying to pick up on anything coming off it. We noticed that all communication waves were particularly attracted to the device. Wi-Fi, radio, pulse comms, every wave of communication was drawn into it. I wanted to get a computer and fill it with a bunch of harmless information closed off from the net to share with it, see what kind of info the probe cared about, how it went about processing it, that kind of thing. Problem was that there was a barrier around the device we couldn't penetrate. Even after figuring out it was a solid energy field, honest to God force field, we were stumped on what to try. EMP might get us through, but it could also fry the information inside. After trying everything from high-powered drills to a plasma cutter, we realized we were approaching it the wrong way. Any impact or energy put in just made it stronger. We had to use something to pull energy away from it to weaken it. Hooking up cables did work, for the millisecond it took for the electric overload to fry every resistor and circuit in the line and leave the wires a burnt-out mess anyway. So we set up some electromagnetic generators around it and started siphoning off power at a more controlled rate. Slow going though. Even when we were pulling enough out to power an entire megacity block for an hour every minute, it looked like it was going to take 2 whole days to dissipate the shield. Guess it was just time to hurry up and wait. First, I want to say I am grateful that despite the short notice given, the Chief managed to put together such a qualified team. I've gone over all of your files and am honored to be leading this first contact with you at my side. Are there any questions about what our roles will be? Mikri said.
I have one, Neva said. My orders are first and foremost to protect this delegation. But I was told I would be serving in some ambassadorial role as well. I do not understand why I am being relied upon for this role in something as important as a first contact.
Ah, that's right. Your orders came from Halaki Command, so you probably haven't been fully briefed. Your primary role is still being a protector, Nirva, but your role as ambassador is due to being a Halaki. We were each chosen to represent our respective sapients of the Elder Four, as well as the Alliance at large. You will be working with me in finding out how best to incorporate these Death Worlders into our military and see their people's needs met during the transition.
But I am no ambassador. I am a warrior.
There are no Halaki ambassadors, Nirva, but you are known for patience, interspecies communication, and for your noble personality. If any Halaki is suited to represent the Alliance military interest, it's you. Nova bowed his head in affirmation. Mikri mirrored him. She then looked to Yigrak and I. And what of you both? No questions. I am looking forward to my role in working with the new sapients and expanding our understanding of each other's art, languages, and cultures, Yigrak says. I've been studying the rudimentary technologies typical of recent pulse-drive civilizations during my wait. I don't yet know what level they'll be or what approach they've used, but I want to be as prepared as I can to guide them up to galactic standard, in a way best suited to their mindset, I say. Excellent. Now that we are clear on our roles, I'd like to establish our plan of approach. We don't know how they'll react to us or what we'll be arriving to, so I don't want anything too exact. But I do want us to be on the same page for any likely eventualities. Nerva, if there are open hostilities that we can avoid without risking our own, I intend to, even if they fire on us first. Is that understood?
As long as I am free to determine the extent of what is safely avoidable, yes.
Of course, I do not expect you or your men to needlessly risk themselves. I merely don't want any potential panic to impede what could be a lasting alliance. In the event conflict cannot be avoided, we will fight defensively and withdraw. Our ship should be far more advanced than theirs, and that advantage is something I want to use to ensure our own safety while taking the high road. If we do have to leave the system, we will return in 2 of their days and try again. If history repeats, we will allow one final attempt and leave if that also fails.
Understood. I will inform my men after this meeting to avoid harming them as much as possible until I order otherwise.
Thank you. I appreciate your help with this and understand it's a lot to ask. Hopefully we won't need to and negotiations will begin peacefully, in which case we will be relying on the information from our reconnaissance drone to learn their culture and language, so we can establish a baseline of diplomatic dialogue. We will first focus on learning each other's cultures to prevent misunderstandings or inadvertent offenses. This will fall primarily under your jurisdiction, Yagrak, but it will also be a time for the rest of us to feel out and learn about these new sapiens. Only after this is done can the real work begin.
I am looking forward to it,
Yagrak said. I have a question, Mikri. I am aware we are aiming to incorporate them into our military as another Death Worlder species, but what if they're not interested in contributing militarily? I ask, aware that such a thing would go against all we know of Death Worlders, but hoping all the same it would be possible. Mikri looked surprised at my question, but didn't mock it. I'll admit that was not something I considered. It's our designated priority to add them to the ranks of the Alliance, or determine the threat they pose if they refuse to join. We all want to see them join us, but I'm sure you understand the risks of leaving a faction of Death Worlders unaffiliated. The Legion is a menace as it is, without them finding any more additions to their ranks. If the incorporation of their military ostracizes them from joining, then they won't be. Their membership is our priority. I breathed a sigh of internal relief and nodded. Are there any other questions? Very well. For the remainder of our trip, I expect us all to get to know each other better, build on our cooperation, and further our knowledge on recent post-pulse drive civilizations and our prospective areas of expertise. We are all put on this assignment with short notice. Let's make use of all the time we have before arrival. There's no time to waste. And that is it for Tales of the Ambassador Part 3. A little shorter this time around, more dialogue, less details. I hope you all enjoyed. Before I go, I have an announcement to make. As you may have noticed, I now have an avatar of myself. Ruined Rider is in the bar. The work was done by an absolutely amazing artist, and I will link her information in the details below. I am also going to be doing some art streams and Let Chat streams on Twitch, and while I am not yet sure when my first debut will happen, I will link my account, and I will probably announce it in the next video before the debut. But it is coming. With that done, I think that's all I have to say. I hope everyone has an absolutely great day, and stay awesome.